他的身上有5代华人的血脉，他的肩上扛着将军的荣光。他在学术的殿堂思考未来，也在历史的尘烟中寻根求源。他是教授，是将军，是桥梁。他就是 Darryl Low Choy。
各位观众大家好，我是维刚，欢迎来到澳华家园。今天呢，我们有幸请到澳洲唯一的华人将军 Darryl Low Choy， 他也是大学的一个教授。那我们就请他来给我们谈谈他的传奇的一生。Good morning, Darryl.
Good morning. Good morning, folks. Good morning.
Good morning.
今天一起做节目的呢，还是我们的宋明先博士。明先你好。
你好，大家好。
Darryl, could you please tell us a bit about your ancestors? How did they come to Australia?
Well, they came during the gold rush days.
Mm-hmm.
My first ancestor was a great-great-grandfather who came in 1865. On my mother's side, the ancestors came in through Cooktown and went to the Palmer River goldfields.
So they came sort of separately.
They're from different districts in
From
China.
different districts, right? And they met here.
I'm 5 generations Australian.
Of course.
So when you say they met,
Of
you're
course.
talking about my parents, 4 generations.
Of course.
The first generation did not know each other.
Okay, I need to switch a bit. Maybe we need to start this again.
Yes.
So what about the first generation in Australia, and what was the situation then?
Okay. So on my father's side, the first generation to come to Australia did so in 1865.
Okay.
And he became a merchant in Sydney
Yeah.
and had a series of interest in branch stores throughout New South Wales, Victoria, New Zealand and Fiji and Queensland.
So he was not doing gold mining.
No, he was a merchant.
Merchant, okay.
I never had any ancestors that were gold miners.
Okay.
All my ancestors were merchants.
Okay.
And that's why I'm sitting here talking to you today.
That's clear now.
Because, no, it's not. Because the merchants were allowed to bring their wives.
Uh-huh.
Now, do you understand why I'm sitting here talking to you?
Yes. Yeah.
So
The miners couldn't bring their wives.
Yeah.
The market gardeners couldn't bring their wives.
Okay.
The laundrymen couldn't bring their wives.
Okay, so they were discriminated against.
Well, that's your words, but the merchants were favoured.
Okay. So how was the life of him?
Well, as far as I could ascertain through research, not because of family stories,
Yeah.
because there are none, I think he had a very, very good life as a merchant. The only issue I think that was 1888 colonial discussions about restricting Chinese immigration and restricting Chinese rights in Australia probably showed him that as we reached federation, it would not be equitable to be Chinese living in a new Australian country. No, I'm only assuming that he went back to China in early 1890s because he felt the pull of the mother country back to where, you need to go when you're about to die. You want to be buried in your home country.
Yeah.
And secondly,
the leaf comes down to the root. Yeah.
exactly, that's the leaves come down to the roots, exactly.
Yeah.
And also there was probably no future for him. I also surmise that at the turn of that century, there were new approaches to merchandising and accounting, which were very European style. He was traditionally Chinese, so he probably didn't want to relearn how to organise his businesses in the European style. So I think there's a lot of factors as to why he went back to China. I have no proof, no evidence of all of that. It's just my supposition.
The life was getting tougher here.
Well, I think in his case, he obviously didn't want for any lack of finances. He'd made a lot of money, so it wasn't because he was poor or anything. It's just that I think he thought life would have been better back in China.
So he went back to China. What happened then?
I don't know.
So you are the fifth generation.
I'm the fifth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about the other 2, 3, 4?
On his side, talking about him.
Yeah.
Him. Well, his daughter was born in China, as far as I can ascertain. She married Li Yonglai, who was a merchant also. Basically lived in North Queensland, far North Queensland. I don't know what happened to her in the end. I have no idea when she passed away or where she's buried. I've tracked him. He was very active in the local communities he was in. He was a official in the KMT in the Bowen branch. He was a partner in the original firm called Wing On, and that is not the Wing On that everyone talks about. That's in Hong Kong. It's a different, earlier firm. So he was a partner in Wing On, and they had stores throughout northern Australia in the goldfields, Cooktown, because Cooktown was the main entry port for the Chinese into North Queensland.
They have a store in Cooktown.
Yes, he had a store in Cooktown,
Yeah.
but he became naturalised before that, so he was able to own farms, and he had a large farm outside Cooktown which supplied all his produce for his store in Cooktown. And then I trace him to Atherton, where there was a major Chinese community, all growing maize. And then I find that he then moves to Bowen. That's where he passed away. He's buried in Bowen Cemetery.
So they were the second generation.
That's the second generation.
Yeah. And then third generation, fourth generation. And
Well, the third generation, all the children were born in Australia. Their eldest daughter, it was an arranged marriage, which, I believe that's probably what it was.
which is very common in Chinese
Well, that's the way it
culture,
was, yeah. So it was an arranged marriage to my grandfather, whose Australian name is Low Choy. I mean, that's not his Chinese name. They were basically merchants and cane farmers. My father, who's the one of 9 children.
9 children.
Well, they're all large families. I mean,
yeah.
Levi, I think, had 11 children. Most of them died at infancy.
Okay, that's your father's side. And just a bit about your mother's side. Sorry about this.
Okay, so they come from Siap, a village just outside Kaiping. The great-great-grandfather was, forced to leave China because of the Hakka-Punti Wars.
Yeah.
Now, I understand that most Chinese don't know about the Hakka-Punti War. If you don't know about the Hakka-Punti War, you should go and research it.
土客械斗.
The Hakka attacked my great-grandfather's village and destroyed the village and killed all his family. He escaped with his life, barely, and over a year or so, maybe 2 years, made his way to Hong Kong. And from there, he was given a passage on a ship. The family story is he didn't know where the ship was going, but he just wanted to escape. The ship was obviously coming to Cooktown, and it was bringing miners for the Palm River goldfields and Chinese stores. When he got off the ship, the captain released him from any duties, and he found refuge with merchants from the same district. I mean, place-based associations, and they look after their own. So he was sponsored by someone from the Kaiping area. Eventually, he accumulated funds to buy into some stores with partners, and then eventually he branched out by himself. So he had a number of stores in Maytown, a number of properties, as well as Cooktown.
That was also in late 19th century, isn't it?
This is the 1880s, 1890s, and early 1900s.
Yeah.
So he married a lady on the Palm River goldfields in Maytown. She was what you might call a bond daughter to another merchant who was mistreating her physically, and one day she was really in a bad condition. And the Chinese community in the Palm River said to my great-grandfather, who was considered a leader of that community because he was a merchant. They said, you've got to do something about this. And the only thing he could think of doing was paying out the bond. So he paid out the bond to release her from this abusive other merchant. And then he didn't know what to do with her. And they said, well, she can't stay with you, you're not married. So anyway, there was 19 years difference between them. But he ended up marrying her.
Okay.
On the Palmer River Goldfields. It was a big do. Reported in the newspapers. And, a year later they had the son, my grandfather. And I think he was the second Chinese baby to be born in the Palmer or Far North Queensland. But anyway, as you might imagine, there weren't many Chinese females there, and secondly, were not many babies being born of Chinese heritage.
Yeah.
So anyway, he had a very successful merchant business, and he was also, into bananas in Ennisvale. He went back to China in 1906. He didn't go back to his village because the village was wiped out, and it was taken over by the Hakkas.
There was no home.
There was no home, so he went to what we now know as Guangzhou, Canton, and he had a furniture factory there until he died in 1910. My grandfather was really in business with him, but by that stage the business was all around sugarcane. So they had interest, if not the controlling interest, in the last of the big plantations in Far North Queensland. This is before you had small farmers. The plantation was called Jiwa, and that's just outside Cairns. My grandfather, because he could speak both Chinese or Cantonese and English, was the overseer, and he ran the business. Probably from late teenager, he was pretty young. But when his father went back to China and took all his siblings, he decided he'd stay because he just got married, and he became a prominent sugarcane farmer in the Cairns Babinda area of Far North Queensland. And my mother was born on one of those cane farms that he had, and she's the third daughter.
But on this side of the family tree,
Which side? When you say this side?
your mother's side,
Yes.
Somewhere there's a European heritage joining in, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So, my grandfather, Paddy Geeky, married a lady, my grandmother, who was half Chinese, half English.
Okay. So you have like 1/8 European
Well,
blood.
whatever you want to do with the maths. Yes, I have a European blood, and I've traced them as well in England. So,
Yeah.
in my family history research, I know all about them as well. Yeah.
But obviously this side, the Chinese side, is getting much more attention from you.
Well, that's because I've got more ancestors to follow.
Yeah. I heard you didn't realize you were Chinese until someone told you so.
What happened was I just grew up as a normal kid in Far North Queensland, mixed with European kids. I had no Chinese friends. I went to school and I learned a new song, and I came home singing that song in grade 1. And my mother said, you shouldn't sing that song. And I said, why not? And she said, well, you're Chinese. And the song was Ching Chong Chinaman. And I said, well, what's Chinese? What do you mean? So she had to sit down and explain to me about geography and where people come from, and the fact that I was different.
That's in Cairns or in this field?
It was a town called Silkwood, where my father managed the store. That's just south of Ennisvale. Seapoy's store, they had a big store in Ennisvale, and they had a branch store in a little town called Marillion, where my uncle was the manager, and they had a branch store in Silkwood, where my father was the branch manager.
Seapoy store. It's in one of our videos already.
Yeah, it would be. I mean, it's a big family.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
The
big,
building
yeah.
is still there.
Well, sort of. Yeah, it's a Coles supermarket.
Yeah, yeah. Being raised up in North Queensland.
Being raised.
Yeah,
yes.
we were born there and raised up there.
Yeah.
How does that influence who you are, who you became?
Well, I don't reflect on those sort of issues, but if you ask me now off the cuff, I'd say it taught me independence. You get into a group of friends, the friendship group, your mates. We decide what we're going to do on the weekend, whether we're going to go fishing or shooting or swimming or whatever.
Yeah.
So you learn to become independent and make your own decisions early in life. Secondly, I think North Queensland is a fairly harsh climate, so you learn to live, a fairly simple life. I mean, we never had any air conditioning. We never had, much of a winter. So there's a limitation to what your life experiences are, but nevertheless, you learn to put up with the discomforts of life, put it that way.
So
Yeah, at that time, your family still runs the sugarcane farm?
My immediate family moved away from the family farm when I was probably in upper primary school. I think about grade 5 we moved away. So we lived as an independent family then. Prior to that, the grandfather was alive, and I think there were 2 families living on the farm. Yeah, we lived independently as a family of my mother, father, and my 2 brothers and I from about the time I was in grade 5, I think.
have you encountered any discrimination, from like your
Look, I know where you're going. That's a very good question.
Yeah.
And my answer to you both is no, except on the football field.
How was that?
Well, in those days, the coach would tell you, you've got to get out there and rattle that player on the opposite side. Put him off his game. So you do it in any way, mental, physical, or whatever.
Yeah.
So yes, I received some harsh words that you would say today is discriminatory, but it's on the football field and it's in the game.
I guess
It doesn't. After the game, it doesn't matter. It doesn't relate. It's during the game.
Football field is like a battlefield,
Well, that's right. That's right.
I wouldn't say that's discrimination.
Well,
It's just,
no, you wanted to know whether people called me names or made certain accusations against me. Tell me to go back home. All right?
Did they?
Of course, that's what they do.
What was the exact word?
Why don't you go back home?
You don't go back home. Why don't you go back to your own home?
The answer to that question is no. I mean, if you are a student of North Queensland history, you'll understand that North Queensland is a multicultural society.
Yeah.
Always has been, always.
Yeah.
So they are very tolerant of other ethnic groups. Very tolerant.
Yeah, I feel the same way, I've been here like nearly 40 years now. I exactly feel the same way.
Yeah. I mean, I shake my head and I think, these bleeding hearts on television talking about discrimination, and they're largely Chinese from down south who've been here about a year, and they just can't fit into Australian society. Sure, I mean, in every society there are extreme groups. Australia's no different. But, all you have to do is learn how to avoid them.
To us, you are a legend,
Well, I wouldn't use that word, but anyway.
Well, yeah, that's our words. Obviously, the environment shaped you, your character, and I would say also you must have influence from the family, from the Low Choy pioneers, the stories of them as well.
I've got to be honest with you. I don't have many family stories.
No.
No.
That means
Everything I understand now about my family history, I suppose 90% of it I've found through my own research in the last few years.
that means,
So not much passed on.
No,
No. Okay.
that means you have a Chinese name.
I don't have a Chinese name. No, I don't have a Chinese name.
We can give you one.
Well, people in China have tried to give me one.
Yeah. You didn't want one.
I don't want one. Why do I need one?
No.
No, but seriously, what you know, I mean, I know that Low Choy is not my authentic, real family name. It's an anglicised name adopted here in Australia. It doesn't matter to me. I mean, that's the name that's on my birth certificate. It's on my father's birth certificate. You know,
It's just a notation.
yeah.
Low Choy sounds to us is the full name of your
grandfather.
grandparents.
My grandfather, if I try to pronounce it, it's Low Choy.
Low Choy. 姓
Right?
刘
Lao.
姓
Lao.
刘
Right? All right. So, and Joy, you probably should have spelt it Joy rather than Choy.
Joy.
Choy in Cantonese is cabbage.
Yeah.
Joy.
Choy.
Bok choy.
Bok choy. Right? And no self-respecting
Yeah.
Chinaman's going to have a name cabbage. Although my uncles used to call me cabbage head
Okay.
when I was very young. So, you know, I didn't know why then, but I know now.
Little cabbage.
In my research, I now know all my ancestors' real Chinese names, including their courtesy names. Don't ask me to repeat them in English because,
Yeah. Yeah.
but that's what I've had to do in my family research. I had to find out what their real names were, not their adopted anglicised names they used in Australia. I mean, that helps me to find them in Australian newspapers, but doesn't help me finding anything about back in China. You know, it didn't help me. I had to do that before I could find my ancestral villages. Now, in the case of my mother's side, my great-grandfather, he recorded on a merchant's tab book the names in classical Cantonese writing, all of his children, when they were born, in the Chinese year, not English. And he also gave them a Chinese name. I mean, my grandfather, his Chinese name is Pakyuk. 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 P-A-K-Y-U-K. Pakyuk. And that's why his name in English is Patrick.
Ah.
Yeah.
All right?
Okay.
Pakyuk.
So it's sort of,
Patrick.
yeah.
All right? Yeah. But that family, my mother's family in Australia is known as G-Key. G-E-E space K-E-E. Now, what's key in Cantonese?
What's that? Key.
Shop. Shop. It's a shop.
It's different, you know.
Key is a shop.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Depends on from or from Zhongshan or from other places.
No. But I'm telling you, they're from Siap. So that part of it's the shop in Siap.
Yeah.
Right?
是不是那个店的意思？
G
啊
K
G 啊
So my great-grandfather, his baby name was RG. So right? So when he had to put a name up on the store, he put G Key, G's shop. So that became the family name in Australia for all the generations after him.
Yeah.
But his real surname, family name, is Tam, T-A-M.
T-A-M.
That's lost forever. Lost forever. Right?
When you're doing research in China, did you have any help from them, in terms of translating those things?
I had a lot of help. Otherwise, I don't speak Chinese. I don't read Chinese.
From the local government or?
No.
No. You found some friends?
I have a colleague who lives in Sydney who was born in one of the districts in Zhongshan and can speak Longdu dialect.
Local dialect.
Longdu dialect.
Yeah.
And he has a lot of relatives still there. He came to Australia when he was 8, so he's lived here all his life. But he goes back there every year. He's got an ancestral house there in his village. So I would coincide my trips to China when he was there, and he and his cousins would help me. So without them, I would not have got to where I've got.
Very interesting.
Interesting, yeah. That's, yeah. Thanks for telling us your background. I guess the most interesting part our audience would like to hear is your military life, I guess, you know.
Right, okay.
I heard, or I read somewhere that you stepped into the military